Welcome back to another piece of content. This is a retention lifestyle. Last time, I was talking about corn addiction and how this addiction escalates. It escalates from just watching a couple of flicks, looking at some images, a couple of times here and there. But then, your dopamine gets stronger and stronger, to reacting to what you're watching and what you're seeing online, then you start to just get so addicted and you get so attached to the stimuli that you're getting from what you're watching. So, I want to talk about how escalation really works because the escalating behavior it takes place as a result of the working of two different systems of our brain. So those two systems are rewards and cravings. Now, these two systems are completely independent and often are contradictory. But this is what leads to escalating behavior. So let's dive into the rewards aspect. This part is smaller among the two, but it's very important. This is the part of the brain's reward system that is responsible for the quote unquote high you feel when you really enjoy something. And any healthy reward you receive in your daily life, you know, sharing a kiss with your woman, a loved one, or winning a game, that tends to light up that part of the brain. The feeling like you accomplished something, you feeling like you gain a reward that's meaningful, right? But unfortunately, it also reacts similarly to those substances and behaviors that are bad for us in the long run. And this includes, the counterfeit joys one receives from drugs, from corn, etc. And this is the main reason, like addictive substances, they feel extremely enjoyable at first. So when you engage in any activity that you really enjoy, it activates the reward system in your brain and it releases a chemical called CREB. Now, this chemical, it helps the satisfaction and reward fade away, ensuring you're able to go on with your life without overriding the high. And that's what we tend to do when we engage in drugs or alcohol, smoking weed, masturbation, watching porn. That is us overriding the high that we get every time we engage in those minimal effort behaviors. And that's what they are. They're minimal effort behaviors at the end of the day. Um, the more you indulge, right? The more you indulge in rewarding activities, right? The more CREB is released. If the CREB level keeps building up, it'll slowly begin to numb your entire pleasure system. When this happens, normal things that you once enjoyed will no longer be pleasurable. You'll feel like consuming more and more of the stimulant just to feel the same satisfaction you once did. That's exactly what an escalating behavior is and what it looks like. And researchers believe they believe that this might also be one of the reasons why addicts often feel detached and bored constantly. Now let's go into the cravings part, which is the part of our brain that generates the want for certain things in life. That it creates that desire for something, right? This part is larger and is way more powerful. It is the part of the brain's reward system that develops the urges we feel. And over time, it leads to the rewiring of the brain. So, as the brain gets rewired, the newly generated nerve connections make you crave the pleasurable acts more and more. And this is how the infamous urges are birthed. The more often you repeat a behavior, the stronger the nerve connection becomes. And as a result of this, your cravings will also get stronger, making it almost impossible to stop reenacting the behavior. And one more thing that plays a huge role in this are the triggers. A trigger can be anything that has the potential to generate cravings or urge at any given time. It could be a song, your favorite song, a particular place, location, a movie scene, whatever. Um, your favorite food. It could be like a billboard that causes this crave, this want, this need for something, right? And it just activates the trigger. The trigger's for you to like chase that thing that you now want, right? This could play into, advertisements. You could be wanting a new bike and you've been searching up this new bike. You've been researching it, looking at it. Okay, I like how this bike is looking. I like the wheels. I like the design. I like how it rides, how it operates, and all that. Right? You just like the look of it. And then as you're scrolling through social media on the internet, right? You're you're just going through different websites and whatnot, and you're not even looking at the bike, mind you. You're no longer looking at that bike that you like. Out of nowhere, and tell me this has happened to you, because this has happened to me before, where the one thing that I just looked at previously, it's now being advertised to me in different social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, in the feed, Facebook could be advertising it now. It's like now the algorithm is showing me, you know, different products. Not different products, but the same product that I was just looking at. That bike is now being shown on different social media platforms, while I'm just, scrolling through different platforms. I'm looking at different stuff now, but out of nowhere, I just see that advertisement pop up for that bike, and that can cause a trigger to want to buy the bike now, because now you're seeing it everywhere you go, right? And this happens with addiction. You see something that causes a desire or a want or a craving, you're going to want more of that. You're going to keep going back and forth on those websites to watch, to look at all these images that cause that desire to grow and grow and grow. And hopefully this is all making sense. Because this is literally, man, how addiction runs rampant in our life. Not just corn, but smoking weed, alcohol, drugs, you name it. This is what every addict is going through, the escalation, the desensitization, the cravings, the triggers, the reward system, everything plays every one of those elements is playing a part into one's addiction. You know what I mean? And so, for an addict, their entire surroundings start to look like a huge, compilation, right? A compilation of triggers. And then once you start finding something highly pleasurable and your brain gets used to it, it starts associating it with different things in your life. That's how triggers are formed. The triggers then lead to cravings, and these cravings could then potentially lead to an addiction, right? Which always tends to happen. And those two things together, they just spell trouble, right? The rewards and the cravings combined that make a behavior like consuming corn highly addictive. These two are mainly responsible for the escalation in porn consumption that you notice over time. You may not notice it right now or immediately, but as months progress, and this happened with me, there was a time where I was watching corn, first time when I was 14. Never noticed it at the time what was happening in my brain, and I was not addicted at 14. I did not become fully addicted to corn until after I graduated high school, which was 2015. So from the 5 years or 4 to 5 years of the first time I watched corn, I was planting a seed in my brain, essentially of the addiction, being formed, right? The triggers, the cravings on a subconscious level, of course, because I wasn't aware what was happening when it came to my brain and corn addiction. And even though I started watching at 14, I became fully addicted 5 years later. So that really builds up, man. And I'm someone that can testify to that. You know what I'm saying? And when the cravings, right, when the cravings and the rewards are combined, you will experience less pleasure, but will want to consume more of the commodity, right? Because you kind of feel numb to it now, and when you keep watching corn, over time, you'll end up building a higher tolerance. So due to this, you slowly become desensitized. And before I get off of here, I want to just talk about desensitization real quick. You know, basically, you become numb to the images that you look at, to the videos that you watch, the flicks that you look at. You know, it's a long-term chemical and a structural change that takes place in the brain. And then normally such a change, it takes months to develop, and it can take years, possibly years to reverse. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, it may take a couple of months, right? When you become desensitized, you become less sensitive to pleasure. And there is a decline in your dopamine and your opioid levels. Over time, you have to consume more and more of the stimulant to receive the same buzz you once used to enjoy, right? You just become so desperate, to feel the same thrill over and over again. And enough is never enough. And that's really the story of every porn addict. You know, enough is never enough. To satisfy that craving, to satisfy the lust. And it's a very dangerous cycle to be in, man. You got to quit while you can. If there is a window for you to quit, you got to jump out of that window. If you find yourself going without corn for like just a couple of weeks, man, you got to keep on going. Like real talk, you got to keep on going. The devil got you snatched up in that addiction, and you have to jump out of that window. And the Lord is providing a way of escape from that addiction, from that sin, from that bondage. You got to take it. You got to take it. It may be something in your spirit that you may feel that says, you know what, I need to get out of this while I can. I got to get out of this burning building, right? There's a way out. There's that little empty spot that I can just slide into and just escape. I got to take that escape route before I get caught in the firing building that's about to burn and crash down, right? I got to take that opportunity while I can. Because you don't want to get crashed. You don't want to get destroyed amongst the firing building. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get caught up in that. So if you're watching this and you're listening, man, this is your time to break the cycle of porn addiction once and for all. And there's going to be more videos to come, you know, talking about corn addiction. The next video is going to be about the 5 stages of corn addiction. And these videos are to give you guys the information, to inform you guys, to give you some knowledge, and to also help you guys along the way. And these videos are just not for you guys, but they're for me as well. Because right now I'm in the midst of quitting for good. You know what I'm saying? I've gone months without it, and I plan on going forever without it. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching, listening. Make sure y'all hit that like button for the algorithm. Subscribe if you are new, and I'm out. And peace.